Hi guys, I am Nu-Trix and today we are going deeper inside the MicroFreak. I talked about it last time about how, nice it is and how I'm really, actually, it's one of my favorite synthesizer today in the stuff I have. And we're going to go deeper in the section of the 13 different oscillator, I would say, synthesis engine. And we're going to go to hear each of them separately. It's very powerful. It's really interesting because the wide range of sound you can create right into the oscillator is very rich, if you want. So let's go. In this section here, you have a grain de folie, which is a little grain of craziness. That's what it is. It's in French. I have this sound, which is initialized sound. Okay. You see the graphic. You have some type of a square wave, and you have the content of the sound. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to change, by changing this here, changing the type of oscillator. Okay, you see the name in the window, Modal and all that stuff. And then when we stop, you've got three values, and the three values are these three knobs. First one, and then you've got the name, it's the bow. Second one is, in this case, position, and the third one is decay, for example. Okay, so let's go back to the first one. So the first one is BasicWave. You see it here, BasicWave. BasicWaves, your first one is morph. Morph, you're going to go from one shape to the other. See, now you've got a sawtooth. And then you go to a double sawtooth. The second one is symmetry, or symmetry. It controls the symmetry between the phasing between the two saws, or if you're in the square wave, the pulse width. Okay. And the last one is a sub. If you turn it on, you get a sub oscillator coming in. Put your headphone, you're going to hear a sine wave, very loud, at the back of all this. Okay? And you see it on the graph also. At the bottom you see the sub coming up. Okay? So that's the first one, BasicWaves. Second one, whoops, super saw. Now, when you move from one to when you move from one type to the other, these stay at the same value. So if this one was at 35, it stays at 35. So I'm going to bring it down to 0. SuperWave. Now, if you don't know what SuperWave is, it's a kind of an inspiration from the super saw, which the super saw was a creation of Roland. I think it was in the JP8000, the first unit that came with it, and the super saw was basically one oscillator that could create many oscillators of a sawtooth at the same time, like 5, 6, or 7, I don't know how many, and you could detune them, and it was kind of a way to mimic the original analog synth, like a Prophet and stuff like that, where you could have, if you put it in unison, you would have 5 of the same oscillator, slightly detuned, playing at the same time. It would give you a massive pad sound. So that's what you have here. The first wave is to control the waveform. So you have some type of a sawtooth, square, triangular, and sine wave, which is not normal for a super saw. Super saw come from sawtooth, but in case it's SuperWave, because it can be for the other waves also, which is interesting. So let's try to do the super saw first. So you detune them, and then you say, well, I don't really hear them because there's not a lot of volume on the other one. So if you bring this up, the last one is the volume of the detuned sounds. No detuning. Gives you a massive wide sound. That's where the saw, now if you put it as square, it becomes super square. Just one. Then you have triangular. It's kind of bizarre because it's not something you used to have. And sine wave. So very efficient for the saw and the square. The other two are somewhat of a surprise. Okay, next one. Wavetable. The concept of wavetables are basically a bunch of slices of almost like a cycle of a sound, and then you go through them with a movement, a location in it. So the control you have is the table selection. So you have, in this case, 16 different tables to choose from. The position is you browse through the 32 slices of the table, and then you've got the volume of a chorus to have effects on. So let's not use chorus for now. So the first one is this, and with this you go through the table slices, the 32. Add the second one. One way to do this in a fun fashion, I'm going to assign the LFO to here, and this LFO will be assigned to this thing, okay? And I want to, whoops, I'm going to go back to LFO, click, and I want maximum. Why is it doing this? So you hear the movement of this knob here. I change the wave. So you hear the complexity of it. Try another one. So hear the movement, okay? Try another one. You're going through the table. Okay, it's going through this knob here. A bit faster. That is still just the oscillator. It's just happening to move this knob here. So you're going through different slices of the wavetable. Okay. Oh, wait a sec, sorry. Table 11, table 12, you have the value here, 12. Table 13. Table 14. A lot of movement. And 16. Okay, so these are for the wavetable. Back down to 0. Now if you notice this, what I'm doing right now, it's because I didn't update to firmware 2.0. But because there's a way to disable the value of the amount of matrix modulation sent. So next one is harmonics. So harmonic is basically an oscillator that that has some harmonics in it. So in this one, the first one is content. You're morphing through different tables of harmonics amplitudes. So just playing around. So it goes higher in pitch as you go higher. The second one is what they call sculpting. You're going between sine wave and triangular wave for the harmonics amplitudes. So it has different, you know, sound into it. I basically feel that when you go higher, it becomes richer. And the last one is a chorus. So if you don't have this one, no chorus. Okay, so that one is for harmonics. Next one is the Car Plus, or the Car Plus Strong. It's made by Mutable Instruments, and I think it's available for like an open source code that you can play with. And they used it and repurposed it for mostly bowed instruments. So it's kind of a physical modeling thing. The first one here is the bow. Basically the amount of bow applied on top of the strike when you're striking a chord or a string. Position is how hard the resonator will be struck. And the last one is the decay, so the resonating. Here now it's more gliding, whereas the first, when you go at the beginning, it's more hitting it, just like plucking it. And as you go higher, the bow is kind of, yeah, playing against the string. So it's more about creating string sounds in this case. Next one is virtual analog. Virtual analog, what you have, let's go back to 0. The first one is you have the detuning, to detune the oscillator. Shape, it becomes like a square wave, and then a square wave, sorry, then a richer one, and then this one is about adding, you're morphing the triangular and waveform. So it's more like a sync sound. If you bring that back in, you can create a sync. You go, well, there's no two oscillators. Well, you can create the sync type of sound here. Yeah, so the sync sound can be created using this. Okay, in virtual analog. Let's bring that to 0. Let's go for the next one. Wave Shaper. Wave Shaper, let's bring that again to 0. First one is the wave. Wave, you're going between, oh, I'm going to bring that to 0 also, so we don't hear that. Whoops. So this one is, you have the waveform that's going to be used for the wave shaper. So different waveform. And when you move them, you see the graphic change right away. You see that it is being shaped already. Second one is the folding. How much of wave folding you're going to have. It basically brings on high frequency harmonics. And the last one is symmetry. You can change with the symmetry. Let's say we're going to go for a lower note. You're going to see this more easily. So you see that the harmonics are going higher. The bass note is staying in the same place, and you get a richer, higher tone with this light going. So it's interesting. And that create really rich sound. And again, if you add some movement to it, creates movement. Pretty interesting. And this is again just using the oscillator. That's really what I like about this. There's a lot of control right just into these little knobs here. So the next one is the FM synthesis. It's a 2 operator. Now if you know FM, you understand that they're not called oscillator anymore, they're called operator because they can be carrier or modulator. And in this case you have one carrier, one modulator. The first one here is the ratio between the two. So you can change the frequency ratio between them. And that's where you create either harmonics or inharmonics content. Second one is the amount of modulation. If you find something harmonic, because the ratio is a whole note, a whole value, I'm going to bring that down, sorry. Bring that down for now. Come on. Here. So, this is the amount of the modulation. And the last one is the feedback. Feedback basically brings back the output of the one that is the modulator. It feeds back into itself. So the modulator, so the second operator is also modulating itself before it modulates the first one. So it means that the second one becomes a noise. So by becoming a noise, it's a lot more richer and create these very aggressive kind of tone. Again, if you're with a odd value for ratio, what you get is an harmonic content. Right? If you've got a whole value, just play by ear anyway. Again, by playing with this value, the timbre, you can create that movement of richness, like opening up a filter and closing it, like real FM does, because FM doesn't have filters, so it uses this to create filter. So that's a cool thing for the FM. Then next one is Formant. Formant is to create these kind of vocal sound, or these recreation of throat sound in a way. So this is kind of where the way the mouth would be shaped. And this is more about the shape. So is it going to be A and O, E? And this is more of the pitch and the interval in this case. Okay. Next one is chords. One note, then go. Different chords. And this sound is going to be inverted or transposed. The last one is the waveform you're going to play. Okay, so this one is for chords. Next one is speech.
Frequency.
This is a cool one. I like this one.
Frequency.
I don't know how usable it is, but the fun factor is there, that's for sure. So the first one they call type. I would call them bank, because in the first one you're basically selecting a bank of voices. So the first one, you're kind of going through different vocal shape. Actually, this is more I want it to be higher in pitch or lower in pitch. Okay, let's say put it in the middle, 50. Come on, 50, here you go. And then with the last one, you're going through the word. So in this case, you're just going through sounds. O, A, and E, and U. Okay, second one, when you move the type to 2. Other vowel, I and E and O and U. Again, all these just speech voice.
Red, red,
Then you get into colors.
red, red, orange, orange, yellow, 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 green, blue, blue, indigo, indigo,
Now if you press paraphonic,
indigo, 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 indigo,
so you can play them like that. Okay,
indigo,
let's try another one. Let's go.
8, 9, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 0, 1,
Okay, so numbers. Next one.
1, 1, 1, C, C, E, A, F, G, I,
All the letters.
N, P, S, T, W, Z, Z,
Okay, all the letters.
Z, 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 Zulu, Zulu, Yankee, Whiskey, Tango, Quebec, Mike, Julia, Echo, Alpha,
So these are letters but with words, like alpha, bit, bravo, delta, like a military style if you want. But that ones I find really happy and fun.
Romeo, Quebec,
Quebec, come on. Guys, you're making me laugh. Quebec is the province where I live. It's French speaking in Canada, and these guys are French for friends. So I'm sure this is it's a little hats off to us. So well, I'm going to play this one. Quebec, which in French is said Quebec. So find this funny. Thank you guys. Next one.
Modulator,
The last one are mostly synth related sounds or words. Oh wait, sorry, no, this one. So you're gonna get
analog,
analog,
control, digital, 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 electronic, 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 filter,
filter.
frequency, frequency, instrument, knob, modular, operator, oscillator, patch, sequencer, VCA, waveform, waveform,
That's pretty cool. So you can.
waveform, 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 waveform.
Yeah, I'm a nerd. I like this. And the next one is modal. So modal, again, we're going into the logic of physical modeling, and modal is a way to calculate the way when you hit a piece of metal or wood or whatever it is, it's going to resonate. So this is a way of calculate the resonation. So this is mostly for things that you hit. So it could be for bells, it could be for marimbas, and anything that you hit with a hammer. You get the decay. The last one is the decay. Let's put some decay in it. This one is the timbre. So how much resonation are you going to have in it? How brightness and density of the sound you'll get. And this part is more about the enharmonics. So depending on the type of sound you're hitting, it can, like bells, you can easily create bells. And again, remember you've got filter, everything else you can add at the end. So this is more for hitting, hitting either wood or metal, mostly metal in this case. And the next one, where's the last one? There's a, oh, that's it. The one I don't have now is the noise oscillator, which is part of the update version 2.0. So the noise would be the same thing. Then you would have 3 control over how analog sounding the noise is, or digital or metallic sounding it is. So it's going to be in my, well, a video soon, I guess, when I'm going to update finally to 2. So that's it. That's the MicroFreak synthesis engine. It is very powerful. The richness that it provides and the fun you can have with this is really interesting. And especially when you combine the matrix of modulation with these 3 different controls within the sound, it becomes really, really, really powerful and flexible and create movement in the sound. So in the next video, we'll talk more about the matrix and the sequencer, and mostly about the mindset and what to choose to create what, you know, in the movement that sounds interesting within the realm of this synthesizer. So that's it. If you like what I'm doing, thumb up, click the notification bell, and share it with your friends. Go see my website, my t-shirts store, and hopefully see you soon in another video. Cheers.